Hey guys, welcome to another Lunchtime review. Today I'm going to try one of these Banquet mega meals. This one is the creamy provolone Salisbury steak. It says it's 2 Salisbury steak patties made with chicken, pork, and beef, smothered in a creamy provolone cheese sauce, topped with onions and red and green bell peppers, paired with a side of roasted potatoes. 21 grams of protein. This was I've never seen this one before, so I don't know if it's new. It doesn't say it's new, but I've never seen it before, so it's new to me. We bought these at Kroger. They were $3.49, which is pretty cheap if you ask me. It is 13 ounces, 368 grams, and is, of course, a frozen dinner. 490 calories, so not horrible, I guess. There's your other information for you. I do see oven directions. If you want to do them in the oven, they do have directions. You can bake them in the oven if you want to. I don't do that, but you can if you want. So for the microwave, we're going to slit the film to vent, cook on high for 4 minutes, stir, recover, and then cook for an additional 2.5 to 3.5. Wow, that's a long time. And then just make sure it's hot enough. So I'll probably do the 4, stir, recover, stir the potatoes, recover, and then I'll probably do an additional 3 minutes. I'll just kind of go in the middle of the two. So let's see what this looks like. No pull tab, but I think, yeah, it popped open pretty easily. Oh yeah, quite a bit of stuff in there. So I'm going to, let's see, the slit, it just over the film. So I'll probably poke a couple of holes here and there, and I'll be back. Okay, so here it is out of the microwave, and the potatoes are literally just potatoes, and they kind of, I did stir them up the first time, but you can see they kind of got all clumped up together. I only ended up doing it for 2 minutes and 45 seconds that second time because it looked like it was mostly done already, so I didn't want to really like overcook it, so I only did it 245 the second time. I think 3 would have been too much. I'm gonna flip these over and get them really good and covered in that sauce. The sauce is a little thinner than I would have expected. I thought it was gonna be a little bit thicker sauce, but it is what it is. If I let it sit for a little bit longer, you never know, it might thicken up a little bit more, but I think it's good enough. So anyway, the potatoes, like I said, are just raw, cooked potatoes, but there's no sauce or gravy or anything like that on there. So I'm going to try them. Well, I'll probably try a piece of this. Well, I don't know. I got sauce, the cheese sauce all over my fork, but I'll see. I'll figure it out one way or the other, but I'll be right back. Okay, just so I can try the potatoes as plain as possible, I'm going to taste the sauce first, whatever little bit of sauce I have on this fork. Not bad sauce. It's not super strong, but it's by itself, but it's not bad flavor. All right, potatoes. I'm expecting these to be kind of plain. It's like eating a baked potato without anything on it. No butter, no salt, no pepper, no sour cream, no anything. It's like literally just eating the baked potato by itself. It's not bad. I would never eat a potato by itself though. Baked potato, you want some stuff on it. So I'm gonna dip this in that cheese sauce and we'll see what it tastes like. Adds a lot more flavor to it. It's almost like it has you get the onions, which I may have actually got an onion, but you get a little bit of that cheese flavor and you get kind of this oniony pepper flavor. That's definitely the way to eat those potatoes. Don't eat them plain. It'd be crazy to eat them plain. Dip them in that cheese sauce. That's the way to go with them. You will have to kind of pull them apart though, at least in my case. I'm having to, they kind of stuck together in clumps. So I'm having kind of like that. That's one big clump. So that one's actually so stuck together, I don't know that I can pull it apart. It's kind of, it was kind of on the edge, so it's really gotten stuck together. But you can put sauce on them. Not too bad. So the potatoes by themselves are very plain, like I said, like a baked potato. But you dip them in the cheese sauce, they're really good. Some of the pieces, like that one just now, was really, really dense and kind of hard and firm. Not hard, but they were kind of firm and dense potatoes. I don't know that I would want them all to be like that for sure. So if I'd microwaved them longer than the 245 that second time, I think they would have really dried out and gotten really hard. And I'm glad I didn't. Glad I'm stuck with 245. So you'll have to figure it out in your microwave kind of how long you needed that second time. Mine was mostly ready and when I stirred it up after the first 4 minutes, so I knew not to go too much longer in the microwave. So here we go with the Salisbury steak. Good and tender, by the way. I just cut it, I cut all this into kind of like bite-sized pieces with my fork. Super easy to cut up, very, very tender. Kind of like you'd have a ground beef patty. It's kind of like that. Although the texture is not the same as like a hamburger patty. Like, you know, when you put a hamburger patty and you put it on a plate and you put some gravy or whatever on it without eating on a bun. This is more finely ground than a hamburger patty would be. This puts you more in line of a kind of like a meatloaf kind of texture. It has that kind of softer texture, more stuck together, more bound together texture than like just a hamburger patty would be. Yeah, so the meat itself is ground finer and it's bound together with some kind of binder. It's usually some kind of breadcrumbs or something like that. I don't know what they're using here, but it's usually some kind of starch of some kind to kind of hold it together. Sometimes they just use eggs or whatever, but I don't know what they're using, but that's what it's like. Flavor-wise, it's not bad. You don't get a lot of peppers and onions, and what you do get, if you eat it with the Salisbury steak, the flavor of the Salisbury steak itself kind of kills the flavor of the peppers and onions. You know, like just now I made sure I got peppers and onions on that bite, like these are the peppers and onions. If I get a piece of Salisbury steak with the peppers and onions, I can't hardly taste that. I'm not saying it's gone, but it's a lot lighter than it would be by itself. So the Salisbury steak has a really strong, meaty kind of Salisbury steak flavor. The cheese sauce and stuff is kind of lost. I mean, it's there for sure, and I think it makes a difference. There's no way I can get a piece of Salisbury steak without any sauce on it. There's just, it's all over it. Yeah, but that kind of like meaty, kind of meatloafy kind of flavor, it's really, really strong, so it kind of just kills out whatever cheese flavor is on here. So I get the flavor of the cheese sauce more with the potatoes dipped in there than I do with the Salisbury steak. Not that that's necessarily a bad thing, I'm just telling you, you really don't get the peppers and onions with the Salisbury steak when you eat it. Even when you get a bunch of it. So overall, this meal is actually decent flavor-wise. Texture, the potatoes, just be careful. Some of them are kind of going to be firm and kind of, not hard, but just firm. The texture of the gravy is fine. It thickened up a little bit as it set, but it's fine. The texture of the Salisbury steak is a little soft and mushy for me. It's a little too, it's got a little too less meat in it, and to where more, it feels like it's got more binder than meat. So you don't get that really hearty, like meaty kind of texture. So it's more of a mushy kind of texture. Like if you ever had meatloaf it's got too much breadcrumbs in it, you know it, because it's kind of a softer, mushier texture. That's the texture of this Salisbury steak. So texture-wise, it's kind of a hit or miss for me. Flavor-wise, it's okay. The potatoes, like I said, by themselves are, I mean, they're really not hardly worth eating by themselves. Dip them in the cheese, they're really good. But the Salisbury steak just kills the flavor of the peppers and onions, so you really don't taste it. You're better off eating the Salisbury steak with little of the cheese. Don't even worry about the cheese sauce a lot, and use the cheese sauce to dip your potatoes in. That's how I would eat it. Because it really doesn't help the Salisbury steak any, so you're kind of wasting it. So overall, it's not a bad meal. It's not a great meal. It's an average meal. I think it's just average. The texture of that Salisbury steak is really, really soft though. So I really wish it had been more meaty, but that kind of throws me off a little bit. But I'm gonna give it a 3 out of 5. It's fine. It's a perfectly acceptable meal. I think it'll be filled up when you eat it. And you just have to try it out yourself. I hope you enjoyed this video. Thanks for watching.